She's calling him. She could just be coming in. Hey, I do it all the time.
Oh, right on time.
So, Molly, you could use my iPad if you want,
Otherwise.
if you don't have yours.
Well, I
If you
don't.
can't get into it.
I can't. We'll share. We're good here.
We can work.
Okay,
Let
okay,
her
sounds good.
wait for. Holly. Keep her running.
Did you have a few things? Oh,
Just when we get into, let's say.
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll start the city council meeting for June the 13th, 2023 at 7:00 p.m. And we'll start by doing the pledge of allegiance. Stand up and remove your headgear if possible. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Do roll call. Start out with the council people. Lee Scholander. Here. Kim Helgeson.
Here.
Ray Bailey.
Here.
Ollie Ryan.
Here.
Empty here. City Administrator Mark Balsing.
here,
City Attorney Scott Riggs.
Here.
City Engineer Eric.
Derek Ollinger.
Eric, I should say. I got
Here.
Eric, I'm sorry. We also have Assistant City Administrator Holly. Police Department, Brian Homeyer is here. Public Works is Wayne Eric. We'll go on to item number 2 on it, is citizens' comments. Is there anything that, go ahead, ma'am. I will ask you this here, state your name and your address is asked.
616 3rd Street. I'm trying to find out why my car had to be removed when it's licensed and insured and got cars all over town there. I had no work on my brother. Do I need to slap license plates on it? Would that make you happy?
So, okay, the first thing is I'll have to get back to you on this. Okay, you're at Scott Bowen's property. Is that where your
Yeah.
vehicle was? Okay. So I don't know, that's part of a larger cleanup.
Right.
It's part of a different part of the ordinance than covers just solely inoperable cars. No, but that's what I mean. It's not that ordinance. It's part of a larger property that abatement action that the city council took on everything that was on that property, not just your vehicle.
What about? You're gonna have one, you need to go after all of
Well, we do.
them.
Yes, we do. And there's a list of probably 30 properties right now that are under abatement. So,
That's why you tell Scott to not allow in this town. But yet, there's containers. Mayor has containers, the school has 40-foot containers. The city has one out by brush pile, but yet they're not allowed.
What kind of container?
it's
Like a
The
big
shipping
shipping?
container.
Okay,
Right, and that it's not, Mark, that area is not zoned properly for that type of storage unit. And sure, that's something this council could look at and change, but that has not occurred at this point in time. That's been the issue with the property. It's not complying with what is required by city code.
Okay. The mayor is.
The city is looking at many other properties and will continue with that. This is another property we've been dealing with for well over a year.
Okay. You told me my car was a variant, had to be moved, and you kept saying inoperable. My car is not inoperable. But yet I can't park it at my house without you guys being upset that I have all my vehicles parked out front. I didn't know we were only allowed to own one car per person.
well, that's not true.
are they all licensed and tabs?
And insurance.
Okay.
Did you drive it off of the property then?
I took it to my cousin for the IBM. But it's not fair to me if I decide something happens to one of my vehicles and I need it.
So are you ticketed for vehicles that are licensed and insured? I mean, did you get ticketed for those?
Not yet.
Okay,
You weren't ticketed the vehicle wasn't ticketed specifically, but that property is part of a larger
Right.
abatement order.
Sent the police department to my house specifically telling me it had to go.
Yes, that is correct, because it's not allowed as a storage area there. That's been the whole issue with the code. It's not a storage area. The city has been dealing with that for well over a year and attempting to resolve that. It's not a storage area that people can just go park cars at. And he can't rent it out for storage area either. That's not what it's zoned at this point in time.
It wasn't rented.
And can't use it nor rent it for that.
So what, you guys basically want the place sold and come out of town, you have another purpose for the building? Is that what it's coming down to?
No, that's not what it's coming down to.
Maybe I'll just call. Lindsay's office, find out.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else have citizens' comments?
Yes. That's a short answer. Yes. It's on the agenda, so there will be time for discussion on it.
Okay. Well, then, citizens' comments about the agenda. Any changes? to be made?
So there's two additions to the agenda. One addition, they're both resolutions for summary publication. The first one would be under section 8C. And that's resolution 2023-14, which is a summary publication for the
Reasonable accommodation.
yeah, thank you, reasonable accommodation.
That number 2, C, did you?
It'll be
say?
C under legal.
Oh, under legal.
See under legal.
Yeah, C under legal. And then the second item would be another resolution of summary publication, this time if it's tied to the chicken ordinance, and that would be resolution 2023-15. That would be under B, under old business.
What was that one again?
It's B under old business, so it's resolution 2023-15.
What's the title on that resolution then?
It's a resolution approving summary publication for chicken ordinance. And that would, of course, be adopted if the chicken ordinance is approved.
Anything else that you got?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Anybody wish to make a motion on that with the add-ons?
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the 2 add-ins.
I'll approve it. Or I mean, I'll second it. Sorry,
Thank you,
I'm
Mary.
already in the mayor. in the mayor's seat.
Okay, there has been a motion made, second, to approve the agenda with the 2 added items to it. Those in favor of the adopting agenda as said, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes pass. Okay, then we can go on, we can pick up 3 of them at one time here. Consent agenda. Approval of minutes and appointments and financial. We can do 3 of them at once on that.
I do have one item here. I'd like to just double check on the closed meeting. It does show motion by Ryan, second by Hoagland to adjourn, and then also the adjournment down below was us.
Oh, so that's a typo.
Typo that.
Yeah,
was
let's fix
added in.
that. Yep.
Okay.
It's too many minutes we do in a given week sometimes, and
Right.
the names kind of get stuck in your head, yep.
I'll make a motion then to approve the minutes and the appointments.
I'll second.
There has been a motion made. Second. To adapt the consent agenda, approve of minutes and appointments and financial. Those in favor of the motion, say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes pass. Okay, presentations, public hearings, recognition, proclamations. Do anything on that? I'm not aware of any of it, so.
Nope, nothing there.
Pass that one up. Okay, we will go on to engineering. First item on it is 2023 street maintenance ceiling project. Derek, would you like to
Yes,
take that on?
thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this year, what's budgeted for this year's street maintenance project is approximately 45,000 that was in the budget. Just to kind of recap on what we're doing here, as part of the overall pavement management plan, we're doing things like chip sealing, crack filling, the street maintenance end. Then there's the more robust overlay projects like we'll be looking at here shortly. And then there's reconstructions. That's how you maintain and, replace your streets. As part of that plan, the most important component is the maintenance. You take care of your streets that are in good condition by sealing them in one way or another. What's on the agenda here tonight is a proposal to for one form of sealing. In the past, what we've done for street sealing has been, it's commonly known as chip sealing. They come through with their small rocks and the oil and they seal the street with those materials. What we're proposing here tonight is a little bit different type of project. It basically does the same thing for your streets. It maintains your good condition streets. It's just using a slightly different product. This company that does this sells this proprietary project. They've been serving multiple cities up in the metro for the past decade or more. So we were able to catch one of their mobilizations here for this summer. The price for doing this work looks like it's about 20 to 30% less. Long-term costs. For this type of sealing as opposed to chip sealing. So what we're looking for approval here tonight on is this proposal from Corrective Asphalt Materials for just under 35,000. If approved, they would mobilize in sometime in August and complete the work.
Have you seen this in use before? How does it work? Is it okay?
Yes, it is okay. I have not done it myself.
No.
We have multiple other engineers within Bolton and Menk and also other city engineers in Minnesota that have done it. This is not this is new to Kenyon. It's not new to Minnesota. It's tried and true. It looks like it's been in use for like something like 30 years, maybe more. But in Minnesota, maybe a little over a decade, the cities up in the metro that are using it are seeing fantastic results. So that's the reason why we wanted to move forward with it.
Eric, have you had any word on this stuff at all?
I read a bunch of case. There it is. Whoop, no, I screwed it up.
That's right. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So they spray the road and they put like a real fine aggregate over it.
Mhm.
It's done on newer roads to keep them newer longer.
Yep.
So we did it once for a trial.
Mhm.
But I think it's a good thing, because we're getting more bang for our buck on
Mhm.
it.
Yes.
It's essentially the same type of.
Mhm.
So I think it's worth a try.
And the average then that they're saying 5 to 7 years longer life expectancy for that's using based on like city traffic then, so we might see longer.
Yeah,
Because there's less traffic. That's a good point.
yeah, there's a number of different ways that you can look at it. I gave you some of their, sales pitchy type materials. I'm not too concerned on if we get 5 years more, 7 years more, that type of thing. If we do this type of sealing work regularly, every 5 to 7 years, whether it's crack filling, chip sealing, or this, we'll take a roadway that would have otherwise only lasted for 20 or 30 years, and we'll get a full 50 out of it. It will happen. I have no reservations about making that. So this is just another method of doing that same thing.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Saving money.
Okay, is there any more discussion on? Street maintenance ceiling project?
We just need,
We need to have a motion on it.
I'll make a
either
motion
go
to
forward
approve
with
the
it.
2023 street maintenance ceiling project for the 34,935. That's what you're looking for, right?
That's correct.
I'll second that one. Any other discussion on it? If not. The motion has been made second to approve the quote of corrective asphalt materials for 34,935. All of those in favor say aye, please.
I,
Ayes opposed. Ayes passed.
Okay.
Get at it. Did they say when they would start?
I'm told sometime in August. They mobilize to Minnesota 3 times a year. August is the last time, so. All right.
Number B.
Yep. Next thing on the list is I'll talk about the Pearl Creek sewer project first. So on the end of easements, we do not have agreements in hand yet. We had a meeting just before the council meeting here tonight, and Barrett's are here in case they'd like to say anything. But what we hope for is by next month, we'll have agreements ready for council approval. So what I'll say, we're going to talk about bids here in a minute, is any approvals that we're looking for on bids associated with that project would be contingent upon approving the easements. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you guys want to say anything? No? Okay. So on to bids. We opened bids for both the street project and the sewer project last week. Got good numbers for both of them. In that summary letter, I've got the low bid from each of those projects summarized. So with the sewer project, I had that one estimated at about $1.5 million. It came in about 1.25 million. The street project came in about $150,000 less than what the estimate was. So it's good to see good competitive numbers from the contractors out there. The low bidders in both of these cases, we've worked with them before. We have no concerns. Before we talk about approval of those bids, I just wanted to give you a quick summary of what the total funding scenario looks like. When we had last discussed funding, I think that was in March, when George Eilerton with Northland Securities came. We were adjusting the project budgets with some concern that, hey, the estimate's coming in higher than what we were originally thinking. Collectively with these, with these low bids that we have, we're looking at a total project cost of about 2.5 million before. Now we're in the 2.3 range. So that's good to see those numbers. I've broken out in my letter where all those costs lie depending on the type of improvement that's being made. But it was good to see the lower prices.
2 for 2 on the lower. Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, well, doesn't always happen like that. So, are there any questions on costs or the scopes of either of those two projects before we talk about action items on these?
Are we adding? You haven't mentioned the add-on, the blacktop.
Yeah, okay, that's a good thing to talk about. So on the Pearl Creek project, we had a base bid that was doing the lift station, all the pipe work. I had mentioned last month that we had an alternate for paving the driveway in the turnaround area for the lift station site. So in my summary letter, the total cost that you see includes that alternate. So the recommendation based on where the pricing came in is to approve the base bid and alternate one for that project. Similarly, on the 2023 street project, so that's the overlay project. That one, we had 2 alternates. So we had our base bid that had about 5 blocks in it, if I'm remembering right. We had 2 alternates. One of them was down in the Semcra development for 1 block of Washington Street, and then a very similar block along State Street. So that was alternate 1 and 2. Again, based on where the pricing is coming in and the needs associated with both of those streets, the recommended action for either of these approvals is for approval of the base bid and all alternates. So in terms of approvals, we'll kind of hop back and just kind of handle these one at a time. In order to accept the bid for the 2023 Pearl Creek Sanitary Sewer and Gates Avenue utility project, we'd be looking for approval of resolution 2023-12. One amendment that we will make to this that is not stated directly in that resolution is approval of the low bid is contingent upon receipt of the easements, as I had mentioned earlier.
Now, is that blacktop part of it included into this resolution of 2023-12?
Yep, if
It
you
will be included.
if you state so, if you state that you want alternate 1 included, then it's included.
Is there any discussion on that part for your council? Okay, we include it then. I'm gonna make the motion then to approve resolution 2023-12, accepting the bid for the 2023 Pearl Creek Sewer Project along with alternate 1.
And making bids contingent upon the easements.
You finished. Thank you.
I'll second that one.
Any discussion? Not motion had made and second. We won't repeat it at all. It is resolution 2023-11. Those in favor of the motion, say aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Aye, pass. So we got that done.
All righty, thank you. So last item would be very similar resolution before the 2023 street project. In this particular case, you'd be looking for. I opened the wrong one here, sorry. Do we have the right resolution in the,
Yeah, it doesn't look like we have the right resolution, does it?
I do have it here.
Shoot,
I don't.
that's the one improvement plans and specs.
Yeah.
Okay,
The title was right, but
so.
We all have. it
All right,
though,
so I can
oh,
put that out,
This one, we don't?
Yeah, 2023-09.
Oh,
the one from last month.
did it get swapped with another link?
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
posted the wrong
I see.
resolution.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah, no, that's true, because the last one there is the wrong. one.
yeah, I just have to print it out. Just take a second here. Did you get it, Wayne?
Yeah.
All right. Here's the right resolution up on the board here.
Yeah, so very similar to the other one. This would be just looking for approval of resolution 2023-13. Was that the number?
Yes.
And you would state, you would also state the, the desired alternates for this one. So again,
Alternate 1 and 2.
the recommendation is to also award 1 and 2.
What happened to it here?
I don't have it because it's 09. So we got this, and we got
Yeah.
that to show that, but.
Thank you for doing that.
I see.
On there, if you click that button, I thought you could get it, but maybe I'm.
Oh, really?
That's all right. No,
Seeing it.
that's all right. We got it.
Is that almost? Well, that's different. Oh, here it is. 71.
Because this is
69.
alternate 2. Oh,
This one's up a little bit. Or that one, no, 67, okay.
Any questions on this one? As you can see, the little bitter here is bituminous materials that are out there about. Done work with them before. They do a good job.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-13 with alternate 1 and alternate 2.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? Motion has been made then. Pardon me. And second for resolution 2023-13, along with alternate 1 and alternate 2. Those in favor of the motion, say aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes pass.
And that was all for me. Thank you, everyone.
That's it. Okay. Well, then we'll follow on to legal and Rick.
Yep, thank you, Mayor. First item is relative to request you've had before you previously. We have some information back, including a survey on the block proposal with the Traxlers. We don't have the legal descriptions. We'll have those. So the idea would be coming back to you next meeting with the appropriate deeds and resolutions to approve that transaction. But that's where we're at right now. So it is moving forward, but it's not ready yet. So it's on here for information purposes only.
Okay.
Any questions on that one? I will jump to item B, which is on the obviously the Cannabis Law Legalization Act in Minnesota that was signed into law. A lot of information that I've provided you there, probably a lot more than you really want. It is in flux. It is something that I think will change slightly as the next year goes forward. But as of August 1st of this year, possession of marijuana is legal. Doesn't mean you can utilize it in public in many circumstances, and in other certain places it's not legal. It also doesn't mean that legal sales will be occurring. That's supposed to be online in 2024. So it's not happened yet, but it is in process. People are still trying to figure out what everything in that legislation means, how it's to be interpreted, and how it will be implemented. The state is setting up its program for that. That's why there is a ramp up time period for retail sales that doesn't occur until 2024. However, there is the possibility that individuals, entities could apply for licenses coming up very soon after August 1st. Doesn't mean they can start sales, but it may mean that the city will have to attempt to address those or determine how you want to address those. That's discussed in the information that I've provided you. What really I'm asking you tonight is to think about what you want regarding this, how you want staff to deal with it. And if you want us to adopt a moratorium, which I am suggesting you do, we would notice that with a public hearing because that's what the legislation requires, and have a public hearing at the July meeting to adopt the moratorium ordinance. What the moratorium ordinance does, it does not allow the sales to occur during this time period or licenses to be issued, among other things, until the state has the necessary elements in place for regulation of this. So it's really, is it absolutely necessary? There's some question to that, but it does appear that a number of communities are moving forward with an interim ordinance to protect the process of you five deciding what you want to do in the community. And one of the things that'll be major for you to decide is, one, you can't prevent the sales, but is you can determine where those sales can occur. So from a zoning perspective involving the planning commission, things like that, that's what this ordinance would allow as a time process for you to deal with that, as well as staff, police, and planning commission to figure out where this maybe should go. So nothing for you to do tonight except for to tell Mark and I to go ahead, get a interim ordinance ready, which is in your packet. All that stuff is there. It'll be the same stuff coming back to you, but we do have to have a public hearing. We do have to provide 10 days notice. So the suggestion would be to come back at the July meeting and do that.
Sounds good to me.
Questions?
Mhm.
Okay.
I agree.
So it's kind of just information right now.
Yeah.
If you want us to move ahead with setting up the public hearing and moving ahead with the next steps of the ordinance, then we'll do
Yeah.
that. That's kind of
Yeah,
what,
sounds good.
way it's on right now. So
Everybody good with that?
Good.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion, Mark. We can just get
No,
that ready and
just simple
Okay.
motion.
we'll do that. Get that ready for you and bring it back in July.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right.
And again, sorry for all the information, but that's sort of what we put together in a.
It's long.
Real
I
time.
read,
Well-
I read the bill. It's like, and why did
that-
we the
that's
whole
the-
dang thing?
That's the problem.
But it's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It is.
geez, yeah.
We had two individuals in our office that had to follow it very carefully, and that's why these memorandums were prepared. So.
And
it's
a little
there for you.
confusing.
Where is mud?
Yeah, well, that's,
Not only that, but a headache all works too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Jeez.
All right. Well, item C is just a follow-up from your last meeting on the reasonable accommodation. Mark referenced that we added that to the agenda. It is a summary publication of that ordinance. I don't know that you have a copy of it. I don't know if Mark put that up, but it basically just is what we do when we've got an ordinance that's more than a couple pages long. So we have a smaller summary of that that's published. So it becomes official. It saves the city some money. So we have a simple resolution. If you're going to adopt that resolution,
Yeah, do you guys have the Motion
Ordinance number,
2023-14.
They don't.
no,
No,
I didn't see anything.
No.
on that sort of-
They don't have it, Mark. They don't.
it's in here.
is it?
Resolution
No.
2023-11. No?
No, that's a different.
Okay,
No.
sorry.
14.
Oh,
It's the one he added to the agenda.
It didn't. It didn't come down. So,
Okay,
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
yeah, it's a straightforward. You've done them before. You just need a motion and second. I don't know. What number was it, Mark?
So
14.
it's 23-14.
14.
I'll make the motion.
23-14.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll second it.
so. Then am I correct on this here? Then the resolution is 2023-14.
Correct.
Yes.
Any comments on it or anything?
No.
Steve? Who made that motion? Anybody? Lee?
It was Lee.
Second.
Okay.
Um,
Did you get it, Holly? Okay. Motion been made and second on resolution 2023-14. Those in favor, say aye, please.
I,
Aye, opposed? Aye. Pass.
Thank you.
That it?
It is.
What are you on
Thank you,
now?
Mayor.
Okay. Old business. Request for chickens within the city limits. Mark, how do we go about doing that?
okay, so
Or,
what I would suggest you do is first of all, see if there's any public comment on the proposed ordinance, and then the council discuss it. I'm gonna see if I can grab the draft permit. We did a permit. And I'm gonna go run some copies of that, but you have the ordinance in.
Mhm.
we can have them come up for a comment. Is that correct? Or
Do you think they have it?
Just the ordinance.
just the ordinance.
I see.
Yeah, it's just the ordinance, so I'm just gonna go grab it real quick. I can do it.
Uh, 2023-15.
Well, that's what it says here. It doesn't say that.
That's
Well,
only
it's-
if you adopt the ordinance. So,
Right.
Yeah, you may not even need that.
Okay, okay.
No, you're on to your discussion point, Mayor, of
okay.
what you need on this one.
But yes, I do have 2023-15.
Yeah.
If it passes.
Yep,
Right.
yep.
Right.
So this is the updated one.
This we've talked about changing to 3.
Mhm.
Speak up, okay.
You never have to worry.
Yeah, we have that much, we do have a lot, yeah. 2, 3 of us, so.
You can probably take public comment while you're waiting for Mark. if
Yeah.
somebody-
That's-
Yeah.
Okay, we will continue on then as Mark is busy. If there's any public comments about the chicken ordinance and would like to speak one way or the other, please come forward. State your name and address, please.
Alvin Bean, LMC capital L, ELLAN. Last name being 1140 Manorville. I had made posts after the last meeting. And I posted again yesterday with the ordinance. A number of people have commented that they either moved to West Concord or have crossed Kenyon off the list of where they would live, because we do not have a chicken ordinance. The comments I got after last night mostly had to do with the fence, and basically it's almost being written so that nobody could raise chickens. The 4-foot fence on a yard. I mean, heating it in the winter is going to be a problem because it'd be a fire hazard. The size of 4 or 30-inch square feet. That's 2 feet less than being able to go out and just buy 4x8 boards to build it. The 32 feet would actually round out more effectively. And my question, when you say 6 foot in height, is that from the ground? Because you're requiring it 18 inches off the ground, or is that from the bottom of the coop?
We're gonna have to have, the attorney talked about that, the city administrator. Two that pretty much put this together, so the question would have to be directed to them.
It's 18 inches off the ground.
Yeah. And then 6 feet in, 6 feet in total.
From the ground, from the 18 inches.
No, it's from the ground.
From the ground.
So you're not gonna really be able to get inside it.
Yeah, well,
That's what I mean, it's being written so that it won't work.
yeah, I don't think it's being written so it won't work. It's written very similar to other ordinances that are out there that are actually being used right now and working just fine. But if there's suggestions, certainly we would recommend that to the council. But this is based on another working ordinance that is in place, that there have been licenses issued for chicken.
I have, my first coop is 4x8.
Okay.
That I mean, I have raised chicken.
Yep.
Professionally.
Okay.
It's just that if you're going to, you're taking 18 inches off of that 6 feet then.
Yeah.
The other thing is, 4 chickens is fine, but most reputable hatcheries won't sell you less than 3. Because chickens are a social animal, and if you don't have enough, they will basically peck each other to death. And I mean, when we used to get lots of 25, we would usually have 2 die out of each lot. So you, just because you buy the baby chickens doesn't mean that they're going to live to adulthood.
Keep in mind, council, this was a starting point to show you an ordinance that has been utilized elsewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't meant to be adopted tonight. It was a discussion item. That's why Mark had it on the old business for this, for you to discuss and decide
that's
what
good.
direction you want.
Yeah, it's a starting point.
Yeah, and there's a lot of variance in these ordinances. The general number that we saw was 3 or 4 that were allowed in other
Can't even
cities.
go less than that because they'll kill each other if you have less.
Right, so 3 or 4 seem to be the most common number that different cities around us had. Rochester had 3. So, you know, again, it's not like meant to be set in stone. This is kind of like a composite of what we saw of ordinances. Some of the stuff, some of the ordinance had, we thought was kind of wacky or weird. We didn't include it, but it's kind of just a composite, you know, it's like a starting point.
Yep.
Right.
3, 4 is a common number, so, of chickens.
Biggest complaint I saw, Mark, from the ordinance was the fencing requirement.
Okay,
I mean, I had several people bring that up to me.
fenced in chicken runs must
I
be,
mean, you have to have a fence 4 feet tall. So it can't be seen from adjacent yards. K 901.07.
yeah, I'm looking at the app here. So,
One shall be screened from
Yep.
view, a solid fence or a landscape buffer with a minimum height of 4 feet.
Okay, and is that like, so people don't have to look at your chickens?
Correct.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of like, well, what about? I mean, people have dogs, mean dogs. That bark at you and they don't have to have that.
Anything else, Mr.
I mean, you know, I'm just.
yeah, it
I'm
says,
throwing
it
it
says
out
they
there.
have to be fenced. Now, I don't know how many ordinances had this. A couple of them did.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it can't be, I'm just, it is kind of one of those things
yeah, I
where
mean,
it's a good question, like.
Yep.
Yeah, do you want, you know, so you know what,
way to do it.
there's a lot of ugly stuff in
I don't know.
people's yards. I mean, chickens are the least of it. Maybe, I don't know. I suppose it's how well you keep your coop, right? You're supposed to be
It
keeping
is.
it, you're supposed to be keeping it nice, so it
Yeah,
shouldn't.
it's
matter.
just, it's all about how people keep.
Yeah,
care-
you
like they do.
keep it nice, right? Or you're gonna get a ticket. So,
Yes. correct.
so
If-
I
if-
suppose that's the other thing too, you know, you gotta think, well, if they are screening it, then maybe it'll turn into a big crap show. Then no one can see it. I don't know. That's,
Right.
you know, it's both ways.
Yeah.
I guess that's a pendulum. I don't know. But something to think about. It's like, well, if you can't see it, then how bad is it gonna get?
Yeah,
More comments,
Huh?
more public comment.
I'm wondering why you're requiring.
I didn't hear what she said.
She wants to
Heated.
know why their coops need to be heated.
Yeah.
During the winter. Again, I think we took multiple ordinances. So it's a valid question.
Some are, some aren't.
Some are, some are.
Yeah, I mean, I raised chickens, when I was a kid, we didn't have heat in there. Yeah.
Wondering, because I don't think that would be a better.
Actually, it's not.
Mhm.
well, again, this came from what other cities have required,
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm saying. So it exists, it's
but
in use.
Maybe it's not.
There are
a
means to do it. There are other cities that have approved that. It's up to you five to decide if you want that or not at all. So yeah, that's. Sure, somebody could do it inappropriately and have an open flame, and I suppose that would be an issue, but that's
Right,
not what
right.
you're.
Yeah.
Assuming is
I
happening.
mean, I kind of remember, I mean, I didn't have, it was a long time ago, but I think we had like maybe a
Yeah,
heat
you
lamp.
should- yeah.
But it's like really mild, but and maybe if we say a heated coop, maybe we even have to go that far as
But
to
they're
say,
right.
hey, heat lamp. Because some people don't know,
Oh,
they might put something
No, and that's.
like a milk heater in there and
that's
things are
the
gonna,
problem. You can either
you might have to say that, yeah,
appeal the regulations so much or you.
I know, the more
And
right,
detailed you get, the more stuff that comes out. I get it.
Right.
yeah, right, yeah, that's a lot, yep, I get it,
All right, well, I wanted to add some comments too.
okay,
So, as you know, in my former role, this came up numerous times. And I was not for the chicken ordinance because we didn't have, I don't think, the right group of people maybe at the time who we really wanted it. I could be wrong, I don't know, but since I don't longer wear that hat and I wear a different hat, the hat I wear now is to bring forth things that the public asks. Public has asked me about this, so here we are again visiting this ordinance. I want to thank you all for putting the time into coming up with this so far. Again, this is just a working template. It doesn't mean we're going to do it. It doesn't mean we're going to accept it. It is what it is. I did also do a little bit of homework on this. I talked to a city of about 18,000 people who said in the last 5 years, they said roughly, they said, don't quote us. We've had maybe 3 to 4 phone calls on this. And normally it's when someone brings a rooster in and person didn't know they couldn't have a rooster. So it's pretty mild stuff. Another thing that was brought up to me is, well, how are they going to dispose of the chickens if they pass away? So I checked with disposal companies who said, we're fine if they want to throw them in the garbage as long as they're double wrapped. We'll take it. We just don't want to get any blood or guts or muck on us. So I checked on that.
Who was that with?
Plum and Waste Management. I talked to Kyle myself today. Again, this is a lot of work.
Mhm.
I think people, once they start looking at this, are going to realize this is work. This is like a puppy. This is work. This is going to be maintaining a coop. This is going to be keeping it sanitary. This is going to be maintaining the chickens year round. It's going to be following the permit guidelines. But I'm glad that we're at least looking at it, because again, it was something that was brought to me, so we're looking at it. If it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
yeah, and there's a lot of positive feedback.
I
Yeah.
have no social media. The stuff I hear is the stuff I hear. So I hear it from word of mouth, from being uptown, visiting local businesses and so forth. So I just want to thank you all for at least even looking at it. So that was my 2 cents.
Kim, do you have some? I'm gonna ask every one of you council people for your opinion.
Well, I'm glad that we're looking at it too, that there is people in the community that do want it. I myself am not in favor of it. Your comment last month about being a farming community, I agree that we are, but yet we live in a city and I feel that the chickens should remain on the farms. And as far as the sales, if you want farm fresh eggs, you can buy them from those farmers that are doing that and have been doing it for years.
Sure.
It's the whole policing aspect of it, having to use taxpayer money to have a person be inspecting them, going out and taking the calls. at this point, I'm gonna vote no. And when it comes to that.
Okay.
Unless somebody can convince me otherwise tonight.
Mary, how about you?
Well, you know how I feel. I think I'm glad we're having this and looking at it. And I think we probably need to do a lot of revising. I think we probably need to talk to more people that know what they're doing with chickens. And like, I mean, because of course we have, these guys doing it and that's great, but maybe they need to sit down with people that know more, when we revise the ordinance. Just know more about, raising chickens. And I think that would help. My kids are big, so it doesn't really matter, but I just think, there's a billion pluses that go to it. And I think, for a family that wants to put in the effort and put in the work, I think it's a little bit, if the majority of the community wants it, I think it's a little bit selfish to say, well, there's gonna be 3 people that ruin it. So that we're gonna have to go to their house. So we don't want to do this because we just don't want to deal with it. That's not what we're up here for. We're up here to serve what the community wants. So to me, it's not like, well, I'm not in favor because I think, we're gonna have, I don't think you're gonna be driving around looking at people's chicken coops all summer long. I just don't think that's what's gonna happen. And I think that, we're here to serve the community and to serve our families. That's why we're all up here. So I kind of feel like it's like, that's what we need to think about. And if we need to revise this, I think maybe we should bring people in that actually know what they're doing and do this all the time. So that's what I think.
Okay, well, thank you, Mary.
Mhm.
Molly?
I'll tell you, I'm really on the fence. And I told Doug this yesterday. I've done a lot of thinking about this. I agree. I think you make first of all, I want to thank the feedback because I think that's really good feedback. Because the heating, I never even thought about it. Like, there's some good feedback. Again, we took this based out of many ordinances. We just didn't throw this together ourselves. So they did do a lot of work of looking at different ordinances and seeing what's out there.
Mhm.
Definitely have some revisions and some concerns and valid ones. So I appreciate that. I agree with Mary to a point that I don't want to say no just because I think there will be a few that will not follow the ordinances that we put into place. I don't want to do that. If what we've talked about, if we set this ordinance and we do this permit, my concern is who's going to have to police it. Wayne, you don't have time. I don't expect you to police it. The police, I don't expect you guys, who's going to police that? And can we make a firm stance that literally you get one chance? And if you do not follow these, whatever the new ordinances that we come up with, if you do not follow that, you're done and you do not get another chance. Can we do that to, instead of saying, oh, well, you kind of got it. Okay, we'll try better next time. No, like we need to follow the ordinance that we put in place. That's my concern.
Sure.
But I am on the fence. I think we need to adjust some things. And I think I have a family that has chickens up by me, right? Like down my driveway. Now they're a different scenario because I think they're considered egg, but they do a great job of it. I never have any issues. I don't see anything. They've got a great coop. It's great. So I want to be very fair and I want to do what's right for the community, but I want to make sure that we set everything in place on our end. If we
Yeah.
choose to say yes, that we don't have to continually police it and then be told as a city council that we're not making people follow the ordinances because that's not right. That's where I'm at right now.
Thank you. A lot of my questions have already been answered too, and I was the only one that voted against even getting a discussion this far, to be very honest with you. But yes, I gotta go along. Who's gonna police this? We already got enough problems in this city with blight and various other things. I can tell you a couple of weeks ago, Officer Mitch and myself went cruising through this town. Every street and every alley, we took 2.5 hours. And really went through, and it took that much time. Now we're gonna, just to get this going, and then all of the expenses that was added to it after that, and going through the attorney and everything else with it. When we're gonna add chickens to it again, who's gonna really place this? Another place is now, was added was the dead chickens anyway, that, I'm surprised that Plum even said that. But I'm saying, some of these comments that I have come from fellow council members or people within the city limits. They were wondering about throwing the dead chickens into the recycling, or I mean, into the garbage. What about the smell? Here's another one that was brought up, property values when selling. If you sold your home and you have chickens next door, what does that actually do? You know, in a sense, I'm just saying, telling you what they have told me. Another one is, again, the ordinance has to be enforced. Already, here's another one. We already have chickens here in town. Now, people know that for the last 2 council sessions that we've had years back already, violated it and definitely go ahead and have the chickens, regardless of it was said, no chickens. They got them right today. Now you tell me, are they going to comply? Are they, what about these other individuals that will not comply? We have problems with that. Another one, we are a farming community. A lot of the larger towns, yes, I will say this here, do have chickens. But they also don't have wild animals that much, rodents and everything else that would be attracted to a nice chicken dinner, okay? Another thing we're talking about is the ordinance. We would revise. How many times are we going to revise? Are we going to come on next month and say, this is it, boom? Or are we going to tweak it again and continue on tweaking? How long are we going to go on with this here? So those are some of the questions that I either have, people have brought to me and have asked the same questions, which I did not have answers for them. But I repeated it on to this council. So, yes, I don't have anything against chickens, to be very honest about it. But I also do look at it this way, that we need to do what the majority of the people in Kenyon want. So that's where we're at. So I gather we need to make a decision if we're going to go forward with this or not. Is that correct?
Well, your options are either to vote it up or down, or table it. You know, ask us to make some changes to it, come back next month. I've also heard that
I
discussed.
do think that, I'm sorry, maybe if, you know, I mean, I want the chickens, but I kind of agree with the mayor on this, like, we need to do something. You know, like, we need to get it done one way or the other, right?
Agreed.
Okay, so maybe if we could do, like, because, I mean, you're obviously smart, you know all this stuff about these ordinances and, making this, but maybe you could meet with somebody that, maybe if you're gonna revise it.
Yeah,
bring
absolutely.
someone that knows something about chickens.
I need some guidance on who to meet. If I could meet, I can have Cal look at it and give me some comments. Cal and
Does
Linda.
that make sense to everybody? Like, maybe get another voice in there to help
It's
with
just,
the-
it's a
maybe
matter of.
revision, and that's what we gotta work with.
Is there a way to do a survey on this of our public? See if we can get a consensus one way or another?
Yes, there is. We can put a survey on the website and the Facebook page. Michelle can do that, I'm pretty certain. And she's done other surveys.
So can we look into that? Because
Oh, we can put a survey up
I
there.
don't think everyone here is bad. I can tell you from working the streets here for 14 years.
Oh, yeah.
we've got some really good people that might do
Yeah.
wonderful things with this, but I agree we should get the public's input.
Mhm.
Now, they don't always want to come to council meetings. I get it. They're busy. It's summer. They've got kids and activities. I think if we put something out there, if we can, and get a consensus on it, that maybe will help guide us in which way to go. Nobody partakes in it, then I guess there's no interest in it. If we get a 50-50 split, I guess that is what it is. If we get a 70-30 split, again, I'm not really for or against. I'm just bringing forth what the public is asking me to bring forth. So that's my role here, and that's what I want to do. And so maybe we can put some value back on the public's opinion and see what they say, because I agree.
Yeah.
Our role up here is not to micromanage in a sense, it's to kind of
to represent our community.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. So,
If that's possible. I'm not trying to make it work for anybody, but I'd like to know.
Yeah, we could put a survey on. Michelle can do that on the website. It's been done before, so absolutely.
yeah, and if we can all get it, then we can share it and send it. and-
Maybe we put it
Can you
in
put it in the paper?
the utility newsletter that the survey is taking place and
Well, the next newsletter goes out in July, which means we're not gonna have, probably
An
data
answer.
back where people aren't gonna have time to respond till August. Just FYI, I mean, so we could, but
that's fine.
we could run it from between now and the next council meeting.
Yeah.
End it, a few days for the council meeting and see what we come up with. you know.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Fine.
And then if we have to revise, I mean,
But I think then we need to come back in July. We need to be ready to make a decision. 'Cause
Yeah.
Now this will be the third council
Yeah.
meeting where we've talked about it.
Mhm.
So I think we do the survey, if we can get it done, get it out, get it back, get the results. And we come in July, ready to make a decision either way.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
survey would be online. So I mean, it's not gonna be something we're gonna send out to people.
No, but just
But
have
it'll be
it.
online.
Yeah.
And we can try to do what we can to publicize it.
Would there also be an option that maybe they could come in and scratch something or something?
yeah.
Propose
like
it
a
on
pet- like a
computer,
petition or your,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Okay,
have something
Yeah, we
here as
could-
well that.
we could get copies of it, I guess, and have them here.
I mean, I could have one at the
Is there
store.
so
I could
many
have
that
one at the
have online?
store. I don't care. I can have one there.
Even a phone number for people to call back in.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Right.
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 See, that's the problem with the survey, online survey is people can vote 10 times or 100 times or whatever.
Yeah, if they're writing their name, then they're writing their name.
Yeah, I would, that's what you should have.
Yeah.
It's just like a written one.
And again, it's just a suggestion. It doesn't mean that what I say needs to go. It's just a suggestion, but
To your point,
Good idea.
when you said have it ready to go up or down, do you mean, okay, we're gonna do this and now put the ordinance together? Or are you asking us to try to do an ordinance in this month's time as well, not knowing whether or not you're gonna do it?
Well, I mean. I was thinking that by July that we make a decision either way. Either we're going to go ahead and we're gonna approve chickens and then. Maybe have to adjust the ordinance, or we're gonna say no chickens and we're not gonna move
Can
ahead
we
with the
do
ordinance.
that? Can we make the motion to want chickens and then adjust the ordinance afterwards? Can we do that? Is that okay?
Well, sure, you won't have, unless, if you're expecting to have an ordinance ready in July, you should let Mark and I know. I mean, because we have to do that, or if it's, you're gonna give it, whatever the vote is, yes or no. Then we put the time in then. It's up to you how you wanna do it. But that will push it out another month, obviously.
But then we'll know, then we know.
Hmm.
Instead of you guys doing the work in case it doesn't go, then you put in all that work and then
That's
it
what I'm
didn't
saying.
go.
Yeah.
Maybe we just say, okay, we approve this, you guys fix the deal, and then, I mean, yeah, it's another month, but whatever, then we know what's going through. At least it's off our plate. It'll just be a yes or no approval of the ordinance at that point. It won't be like we're gonna sit here and talk about it for an hour.
That way you could also take comments coming back in. You've had some decent comments today. You can take more comments. If that's what the survey is, yeah, I want to see this and I want to make sure that it's set back this way or whatever,
Yeah,
whatever it
Then
may
we can
be.
take the suggestion.
Then you're gonna incorporate that into the ordinance rather than us just taking a stab in the dark again.
Okay,
So we just do a written survey. And people can come in and fill out the online survey. The thing is more convenient, but the problem is we have no way to track.
You wouldn't know.
People
if it
from
was putting
outside of
different-
town could,
Yeah.
I mean, we have no way to track it, so it's
Okay.
like. I'm not sure how that would go.
I think I'm lost here a little bit. Are we going to postpone this for a month now, or what are we gonna do? I think we should decide.
well, no, he's,
Either we are gonna go ahead with it or we kill it, period.
well, that's what what they're saying is they're saying, okay, we'll decide at the next meeting whether we're gonna go ahead with it or kill it. Right? That's what we're kind of saying. But if we're gonna kill it, let's just say we're not gonna do it at all. Well, then these guys sat there and wrote another ordinance for no reason. So what they're saying is we can say yes or no, but if it's no, then no skin off their nose. But if it's yes, then we already know it's yes. We just know they're gonna tweak the things in the ordinance that the people want. And then the next time it comes around, we vote. I mean, we'll already know. So we won't have to waste any more time on it. It'll just be a vote. It'll be easy. Does that make sense?
Doug, I think it does. That's what we were talking about, but the idea is over this time period of this next month, you would do a survey of some sort that Holly or Mark would put together and we'd get that in, you'd get more information in. That's up to you if you
And
want.
then.
And then, yeah, up or down.
80% of the public says we don't want chickens, then, okay, that's what the public said. We listen to the public, that's fine.
We want to do what the public wants to do.
Wayne, you had a comment.
Like a chicken workshop. So, like you said, experience, food people to come in. I was just thinking about this. It's pretty cheap. It's off the ground. It's 4.5 feet food.
I know, and again, somebody can explain it. I was at a meeting last night where we approved the license, and yes, there are some very stringent requirements. It's in a metro community. And you can abide by it and it works just fine. And they've issued over the last 4 years, roughly 6 or 7 licenses for it. That's what they do. But that's what the people wanted there. But they do have, it's regulated. I mean, it is.
I understand that. The other thing is my fireman hat. Most fires without the country have to do with extension cords and heat.
Yeah.
I would.
The heat's, yeah, it's a solid question. I have no idea. So obviously with those are like chickens, you've never heated them?
I'm just patient that thick, and I had enough chickens, but their body heat in the winter heated the coop.
Yeah.
It wasn't for chicken.
Right.
That's what I was just thinking.
Like I could ask Heather too, but she's got way more.
Workshop with chicken people, not to say light of what you've done.
Mhm.
That way there is, it's, when they present this, and it's. Right.
Right.
You know, it's not like, well.
Yeah. And one of the,
Great ordinance. Poop is six-
no, that is correct. And Mark's asking who we should talk to. And I know the extension service at the U has provided people because that's one of the communities I dealt with. They brought somebody in to have that discussion and explain what works, what doesn't work. There is an organization, you folks probably know what it is. They've come to another community and explained, this is what works. This is what other cities are utilizing. That's what the ordinance is based on. Now, it's correct that this is being used somewhere else in some context. But that doesn't mean it's perfect for Kenyon by any means. And that's what we said. This was a starting point that Mark and I put together. Yeah.
Yeah, and good.
Yeah.
It was yeah. Okay, so do we need to make a motion to do the survey or are we just gonna we're just gonna do that?
Well, no, I don't think you need to make a motion. We can put a pretty
I'm
simple.
concerned,
survey
I'll be honest, I think the written survey, I mean, is anybody gonna have time to come in and do that?
No.
Online, okay, as for as many as you have, 10 people go and say they want it, you're gonna have 10 people saying they don't, like, I don't know.
There-
Just it gives us a,
This is just
So
like, I
much
mean,
easier.
comprehensive planning and stuff like that. It's very normal to have an online survey. It'll be up to you guys to decide whether or not you believe the results.
yeah.
You guys can
We do.
handle it. We can almost it's set up. It is,
Yeah.
and it doesn't.
She said if people that aren't on there, okay, then they can come in, but
Yeah,
I mean, you don't want to, maybe we're not even getting any traffic, I don't know, but it just seems like you can do it online, do it online.
Yeah.
Yes,
and no one's gonna care on Wanamingo if we have chickens here.
so they can, if they go to the internet, they can come in and vote with you, but otherwise do an online survey, see what we come
Yeah.
up with and be
Go
good.
from
with
there.
it.
Okay, good,
So
They
much
don't
easier.
have
good
them.
enough.
And you thought Michelle had one, that she did one where they had to put in their email address for tracking, so it wouldn't double it?
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll check and see if that's something that could be done. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just so much. easier.
Yeah, that's too much work otherwise. Yeah, okay.
I just cross that off. No, uncross it off. Online survey.
Yeah,
All right, and then. I don't know about the workshop, is there any interest in? Anything like that?
it gets difficult because I mean, I know people that have chickens, but they don't have 3 chickens, or they don't have 4 chickens, which we're allowed. They've got a ton more. So how they deal with their chickens is gonna be way different than how we're gonna start to deal with them in Kenyon.
Kind of addressing with others. Change the ordinance, oh, that's not very good, and then you change it again, and you change it again, and you change it again, next thing you know, we got 8 months in the revisions. Like I said, not like a subcommittee assist in like, this is the changes that we would like to see. And or our recommendations that, you know, the general public or the chicken people would like to see. And if that's fits your guys' decision, we don't have to have 13 revisions. That's all I was kind of.
Yeah, well, and I think regardless of, I mean, whatever one we come up with, if we have the basics, I mean, if somebody needs to tweak something later on, a year down the road, they can come in here, we can do that later, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
who
probably
cares?
will.
Yeah, so, yeah, just something to start with.
Guarantee it. Happened everywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every starting point I've dealt with where there's been a chicken ordinance, it's never not been, to use a double negative, revised very quickly afterwards.
Okay,
Based on comments like this, and that's what you get.
sure.
Yeah.
So bring it back next month.
Okay, I have to go. Did you get my email?
Okay,
I have to go.
We'll make a final decision next month.
yeah, it's up to you guys, but
We
yeah,
have to. I just feel like we have to either way.
Yes.
We just got
I
to.
mean, we spent more time tonight than what the last two times the chicken
yeah.
deal came up.
The AC is broken in here too, by the way,
And what was that?
if you're wondering. Well, I said their AC is not working in here totally, so. Yeah, somebody's coming Friday. It's the soonest I could get anybody out here. so.
Didn't even.
Not too bad. It's okay. It's like
Yeah, no,
75.
there's some blowing.
76.
Okay, so we can just, on, old business request for the chickens within the city limits, we can just.
So you can just, yeah, you don't have to take any action on
Put
that.
that on hold.
Yep.
For every bit of that.
Both A and B under
Yeah.
item 10 are.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, we move on then. Under new business and item A, which is Juneteenth. Scott or Mark?
Scott, go ahead.
I will jump in. It is been adopted as a holiday for the state of Minnesota, so no official business for the municipality can be transacted, which means it is a day that is off for city employees that can be off. Obviously, you have some that cannot. So it will become a holiday, and basically we're asking you to approve that and add that to the city's personnel policy. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
There's no discussion on that. It has to be done, so. Motion been made and second on Juneteenth. Those in favor of it, say aye.
I,
Aye. Guys, thanks. Okay, item B. Mark, do you wish to take that?
Yeah. Chief Showbloom is asking that the holiday pay rate be changed to be aligned with other surrounding departments. Currently, basically the officers work 12-hour shifts and they get straight time for working the 12 hours and they get the holiday 8 hours that they can bank and use later. The officers that have a off day on a holiday also can bank 8 hours. What the chief is asking for is that be increased to time and a half. And most departments that, you know, around us, that's how they work it. The officers are paid time and a half for the hours they work on that day. And then they're paid the 8 hours. And so, you know, some places do it at the end of the year. I think most places do the 8 hour, the holiday pay at the end of the year, like in December. It would have to be probably some type of separate payroll, which we would be able to do. So this, what we're proposing is this would start with June 19th and then work forward from there. As far as the holidays that are banked versus being paid out, in reality, it doesn't make any difference because we pay it one way or we pay it another. If an officer takes a day off, somebody's got to cover for them and we have to pay. If they don't take it off, it's an accrual like vacation and it's paid to them if they leave employment or retire. So the banked holiday, what it's going to cost the department, it's in the long run not going to be any different either way. So those are the two things that he's asked for. The personnel committee reviewed it last night. And their recommendation was to change it to time and a half and that the holidays are paid out. So there's a letter in your packet from Chief Showbloom. This will cover
Holiday pay.
full-time employees.
The holiday pay is 8 hours.
Yeah, that would still be 8 hours, and then whatever hours they work. Right now, their shifts are 12 hours.
Yes, yes.
So they would be paid time and a half for the 12
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
The holiday is always 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yes,
And also in there that we put in was part-time officers that come in.
would be paid
paid
time and a half. Yes, correct. Yep,
I just wanted to bring that in
That's
so that
correct.
everybody knows it.
yep. Yep, that was also part of it, so. I don't know if there's any questions on any of that.
So the part-timers get time and a half, but they're not getting like
No,
full
they
force
don't.
holiday pay?
They don't accrue
Okay.
vacation or because they're just part-time.
Okay,
Is there any question on Mary left?
Yeah.
yeah, she had to leave.
Oh, okay. Is there any more discussion on item B? Or change of police department holiday pay? If not, I'm gonna make that motion that we do have. Set it up that they receive 1.5 times for 12 hours and 8 hours holiday pay. And a part-time, it's 1.5 hour or 1.5. Okay, for their time.
Yep.
Okay,
I'll second that.
motion made and second, then the request a change for a police department holiday pay. Those in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, ayes pass. Okay. Next one, item C is new on sale liquor license for Angie's. Is there any question on that? Be routine pretty much. We need a motion. on
I'll
that.
make a motion to approve the on sale liquor license for Angie's.
I'll pass it or second it then. Any discussion? All those in favor of the new on sale liquor license for Angie, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass, ayes pass. Okay, item D is a snow drifters donation to the police department for body cameras. Is there any discussion on that? I know what it's about. Take it, Mark.
Yeah, so you have a letter in your packet also from the chief. The Snowdrifters Snowmobile Club agreed to donate $12,638 from gaming proceeds that they have toward the police department to be used toward the cost of body cameras. And he's got more information in there. So at this point, I would just, I guess, ask for a motion to accept the donation. That's pretty much it.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion been made, second. With the snow drifters donation to police department for body cameras for $12,600, which I think is pretty nice. All of those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes pass. Okay, item E.
David Stenbakken, who lives at 712 Home Street, is asking if he can remove the sidewalk in front of his house. The sidewalk, which is shown behind you, does not connect up to any other sidewalk at this time. I had Derek look at this and also Wayne. They didn't see any issues with it. If the city ever put sidewalk in that area, that would be torn out anyway. So, you know, and it would replace with current sidewalk that meets current design. So basically, there will be no disruption to the sidewalk system. If a homeowner who was on a normal street that had connecting sidewalks, and it's happened a couple times, came in and asked to be removed, I would tell you not to approve it because, you know, we have a system of sidewalks that are connected, but this is one of a few in the community that are not connected to anything, so it's really not going to make any difference.
Mhm.
And it's not probably used very much, so The ordinance says that there's supposed to be a permit for removal. We don't have a permit and I'm just, and the permit has to be approved by the council. So I'm just asking the council to, rule on this and approve it, and that would meet the ordinance.
Just have a quick question.
Yes.
Looking at utilities, check, make sure there's nothing underneath.
Yes.
Or is that not even an issue? I would feel bad if you started to pull this.
He's
up.
got to do it for state one before he
Yeah.
does it out.
Yeah,
Make
it's,
it-
Oh, but it does say.
I would hope not. I just would feel bad if started doing that.
unfortunately, if there are issues, it's not even gonna be flagged by that. It's something that should be there in the
You're
first
not gonna
place.
catch that, are they?
But yeah,
No, that's what I was gonna say, but.
but it's
There
good.
it is, right there.
I'll make that motion. to approve
That
that.
piece right there.
Do we know what, is he just going to be grassing it? I
Yeah.
mean, is that, okay. I'll second that.
Okay. And a motion has been made and second to request sidewalk removal for David Stembecken at 712 Home Street. Those in favor of the motion, will you please say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passed, the motion passes. Isn't there one other one we had on there? What's that is?
It's gonna be on in July. I didn't put it on for this meeting.
No.
Did they do
You've
snow
gone by,
days?
the one you didn't need to worry about that we had.
Oh. And the other thing that was talked about, a personnel is gonna be July under consent agenda. It wasn't, we didn't have enough time to get it and I didn't want to just. Okay, so.
So we can just move on then to other business, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Schedule of upcoming meetings will be KMU meeting will be Tuesday, June the 20th at 4 p.m. Next city council meeting will be Tuesday, July the 11th at 7 p.m. That's all that I have on there. So now we're going to council, staff, general comments. And I think we'll start with you, Mark. We'll put you on the.
So the only comment I have, and I just want to bring this up to the council, is that you're gonna be getting an evaluation form for me soon in the next few weeks, let's just say. I had talked to the personnel committee about this. I've never had, and I've asked previous councils to, do some type of evaluation. So I get feedback. And after 10 years, it's just like, I think it's really important. It probably should be done every year, but that's the only thing driving it is just, I've asked previous councils 2 different times, mayors about it. And they just kind of said, well, look, whatever, nothing that was ever done. So I just, want to let you guys know that it's coming, so.
How about you?
Nothing from me. Thank you. Nothing from me as well.
Yeah, it's easy to get along with.
Yeah.
So I don't really have too much either, but I know we made progress tonight on Pearl Creek, which I know is going forward. I'm interested yet in the chicken deal. I wonder what that's going to be about. There are other things up, and I gotta say one thing, Farmers Market has got going again. I know there was a Roast Fest meeting last night, which I did not attend. I had other things to do, I'm sorry. But I gotta thank the people that have been on the park and board. We got swimming pool going. We got a lot of things going for us.
It's a busy time of year, so.
So that's about it. How about you, Holly? Or Molly?
I don't think I have anything.
Okay, Kim?
I just want to ask everybody to keep Russ Thermos's family in your prayers. He was a former council member. He passed away, so keep his family in your prayers.
I wanted to add that too. Russ was instrumental when I was the chief, and he always had words of wisdom and input. So lost some pretty good council members in my tenure here, so I'm sorry to hear that. Also want to thank Mr. Eric and his staff for the pool work and all the pool staff and the fire, the lifeguards and so forth. I know that's a lot of work and it's appreciated. Also, we had a meeting with Mr. Bartel from the liquor store, and he does really put in a lot of work, and I want his hard work and effort to be.
There's always a lady in the corner. I know she says no, but we have to ask. At least we get a smile on it. Okay, if there's anything else that a person wants to bring up. Okay, go
Just
ahead.
one quick thing that with this new technology, new to us with this asphalt management, with the new,
For junior, reclamation.
yeah. That's a, being a lower cost alternative, it's gonna allow us to buy mastic. And get more road repairs this summer. Yet to come, no idea when it's gonna happen, we have to use the machine. And line up with the county, but they'll make more repairs, you know, for potholes and help roads, right?
That's something that he tried out for the first time last year and it worked really good. And the fact that Public Works can do it themselves is saving the city a ton of. And it's a good product too. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, and I have to say the same thing, Wayne. You and Derek both put your heads together. And I personally have seen a lot of street improvements. I know you guys are trying your best to keep the costs down, but also to take care of the pothole problems that we have. So thank you very much. Oh, you helped too, believe me.
Yeah, just potholes have been a hot topic this week. On the list, we just. don't know what's gonna-
We talked about that today, and I will get back to that individual that did mention, so. If that, we'll say we need adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Okay, motion been made and second to adjourn the city council meeting of, what is this, July the 13th, 2023.
June
June?
13th. We're not July yet.
Sorry, 1 month ahead. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes pass, we're out of here.